Alright, let's go.
Namaste everyone, welcome to Hindi University. Really excited to have all of you this Sunday. As you know, my name is Ashutosh and we meet every Sunday 8 a.m. US Pacific time. US Pacific time, and we learn about the Hindi language. For those of you who are new to Hindi University, you can learn more about us by going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Hindi University. If you're interested in joining our live classes every Sunday, you can learn out more details from this page, which is tiny.cc/Hindi University. Here you will find all the prior recorded videos that we have, all the topics that we've covered, the books that we've been covering. This year we are covering two books in parallel. One is Pingu Learns Hindi, which is the book for complete beginners, and the second one is Advanced Hindi Grammar by Professor Usha Jain. You can find the links of both the books on this on this page, tiny.cc Hindi University. We also have practice sessions, and now we have 3 practice sessions at different levels. We have practice sessions for beginners, intermediate, advanced level, as well as like if you want to just practice conversation and build your confidence. For all of those, you can find details on this page, tiny.cc/Hindi University. And if you can go to the second tab, which is like Hindi practice session, you will have all the Zoom details and the time when the classes are, or the practice sessions are conducted. Okay, so you can join per your availability. With that in mind, I hope all of you can hear me properly. We've been covering a new topic in the last 3 classes, which is called Hindi Adverbs. Hindi Adverbs. So in the last 3 classes, we started talking about Hindi adverbs. So we'll continue in this class the topic of adverbs as well. We will discuss, my goal is by the end of this class, we will learn about how to form Hindi adverbs. So we will continue this one. We will talk about, an interesting adverb called kabhi and the different variations of kabhi. So we'll be covering that as well. And lately we've added a new topic called Hindi listening. So based on the topic we are covering, we are trying to together come up with a Hindi story. Okay, and most of the sentences in the Hindi story are the topics that we have learned in that class. So naturally, you will hear a lot of new vocabulary words. By design, it's a very difficult exercise. So you get to practice listening some of the complicated Hindi vocabulary words, along with many adverbs that will be there in the sentences, so you get used to them. Okay, if you're interested in so the couple of things that I want to mention for this one, again, like if you go to this page, tiny.cc/Hindi University, there is a tab called Hindi Story. So if you have missed the previous section about the story, you can catch up on the story here. Okay, I think that's all for the introduction. I hope all of you are comfortable, and classes are pretty interactive, so feel free to stop me at any moment, and then we'll take your questions. Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump right into Hindi adverbs. Okay, so if you guys recall, we discussed about Hindi adverbs. What are Hindi or in general adverbs? Okay, these are grammatical concepts that helps us, that modifies the Hindi adjectives, verbs, or adverbs and give it a new sense in a sentence. Okay, we took some examples as well, such as like if I can write it here. So where we talk about like let's say you have a simple sentence called beautiful girl. Okay, here you have beautiful. Okay, and then let's say on contrast you have she speaks, let's say I'm going to say beautifully. 2 different sentences. Okay, you have beautiful here, you have beautifully here. Okay, if I were to ask some of you, if I have to nominate one of you to tell me what is beautiful here in terms of parts of speech and what is beautifully here, let's say. Okay, and then we can build up from that. Mahaji, what do you think? In this case, what is beautiful, and in this sentence, what is beautifully?
Haji, in the first one, khubsurat.
Okay. Sundar, okay.
Sundar.
Okay. Or
Ek
khubsurat.
sundar ladki.
Sundar.
Haji.
And this one?
Uh,
खूबसूरती से, okay.
हाँ, वो खूबसूरती से बोलती है.
Okay, खूबसूरती से. Okay. So if you look at it, in this case, you have an adjective. Okay, beautiful girl. Versus in this case, you have an adverb. Okay, so if you look at it, adjectives, what is the contrasting thing? When you talk about adjectives, they are modifying nouns in a given sentence. Whereas when we talk about adverbs, what is speaks? It's a verb. To speak is bolna. Okay? So you will not say she speaks beautiful. Okay? You would say she speaks beautifully. Okay? So that's a contrasting thing. You have adjectives that are modifying the given noun in a sentence, and when you have an adverb, it's modifying the verb. Okay, so that's what we learned, and we kind of discussed many cases where adjectives are modifying the adverbs are modifying the adjectives, verbs, and different adverbs. Okay, so that was like we covered a good part of it. Okay, so basically वह खूबसूरती से बोलती है, और here it is सुंदर लड़की. Okay, then we learned about what are different kind of adverbs, and we mentioned, like, in some cases, you have words which are adverbs in itself, such as approximately, which is lagbhag. Okay, you have immediately, which is turant. Okay, and always, which is hamesha. But there are cases where the words you have to borrow underlying adjectives, and then adjectives or nouns, and modify them, using some postpositions to make adverbs out of it. So in the last class, we learned about two patterns. Okay, in this class, we'll learn about the third pattern. Okay, so I hope you guys remember the two patterns we learned in the previous class, which is basically example I already gave you. So approximately is one of the example, which is adverb in itself, which means lagbhag. Okay. However, if you have a word called difficulty, it's or difficulty, or you have a word called quickly, you see that when you say difficulty is mushkil se. So you took an abstract noun and you added a postposition next to it to make an adverb. Okay, quickly, you have jaldi se. So this was your pattern number one. I'm just trying to give some background in case if you missed the previous class. Okay, now I'm going to jump to the new pattern that we'll be covering. So the new pattern that we have to make an adverb is basically you take noun or an adjective, you take the oblique form of that, and you have the variation of the word called bharna. Okay, and you just take the first part of it, bhar, and that's how you make the adverb. Okay, let me give you an example. What is month in Hindi? What is month in Hindi? Mahina. Very good. Mahina. when we say the, you know, the oblique form, so you can say 1 month is ek mahina, 2 months is do mahine, 3 months 3 mahine. What is the oblique form of mahina? Mahine, very good. Mahine, very good, right? Mahine. Okay. Now, when you add the form of this verb, instead of the whole thing, you just take the bhar, mahi. Okay. You just take the oblique form of mahina and you put bhar. It becomes mahine bhar. It's giving you the extent of the duration. Okay. Mahine bhar. What does it mean? Mahine bhar.
The whole month.
Okay, the whole month. Very good. The whole month. Yes?
Do you always use just the root of bhar?
That's right. You just root, like, in this case, you just take the root of this word, bhar, mahine bhar. Okay? Let's practice some more and then we'll make some sentences. Okay? So, mahine bhar is the whole month. Okay? Let's take some more. Just like mahina, what is the other unit of time? Let's say you have year. What is year in Hindi?
Saal.
Saal. Very good. What is the oblique form of saal?
Saal.
Saal only. It doesn't change. Right? Saal. And then you put next to it saal and then it becomes saal bhar, which means?
The whole year.
The whole year. Very good. Awesome. The whole year. You get the point now. Similarly, you have the unit called hour. Hour is? Very good. And you have the whole hour would be? Very good. Ghante bhar. Awesome. Okay. So this is about time. What if I want to say something with your stomach? Stomach. Okay. So stomach is?
Paid.
Paid. Paid. Okay. The oblique case is also paid, and when you put bhar next to it, it becomes paid bhar. What do you think it means? Paid bhar.
Full stomach.
Yeah, something stomach full, basically, like something that fulfills your stomach. Okay, so you can think that when it will be used when you're talking about eating something. Okay.
So if you're saying a meal was filling, that would be.
Say it one more time.
A meal is filling would be using paid par.
A meal is filling. Okay, meal is filling.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, we'll come to examples, but very close. Okay, let's say you have another thing called desh. Sorry, I gave you the answer. The country. What is country in Hindi?
Desh.
Desh. Very good, right? Desh. And then you have oblique case is also desh, and you have become desh bhar in the whole country. Okay, so if I were to give an example, like the whole country in India is celebrating Independence Day. Okay, so देश भर में Independence Day celebrate किया जा रहा है. Okay, और मनाया जा रहा है. Okay, so again coming back to it, there are many ways to form Hindi adverbs. Sometimes the words are themselves adverbs, approximately, immediately. Sometimes you have to take help of some of these postpositions and verbs and add them to the abstract noun or adjectives to form the adverbs. I think, Jane, you are raising your hand. Question?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out how you would say paid par in English.
Okay, so I don't know if there's a I think it's basically what do you call it? Stuffed, basically. It's probably the right. So it's stuffed is slightly different. Stuffed is like bharpet. You change the order of it. Bharpet is you're completely stuffed. Okay, but I don't know if there is one. Nothing come to my mind, which is, but it's not stuffed. A state before stuffed, where you feel like
filled up.
Filled up.
Maybe,
That's right.
or,
Filled up.
okay.
Stuffed is like it's basically overeating, right? But a state before that is paid per.
And Trinidad, we say, my belly is full.
My belly is full. Okay, that's a good one. Yes, my belly is full. Okay, so let's now make. I'm gonna just give one more. What is life in Hindi?
Gina.
Okay, so the one word is Jivan. Okay, and then it would be
Jivan Par.
very good, right? Jivan bhar, the whole life. Okay, so now let's try to make some sentences using, saal bhar, ghante bhar, paid bhar, desh bhar, and Jivan bhar. So I'm gonna give some, and I'm gonna leave some for you to think and at least think about how we do make some sentences. Okay, so let's say your sentence is I ate. Let's start with just simply I ate. The verb is here to eat. Okay, I think let's start even before that because some are complete beginners. So let's say you have I eat. How do you say I eat?
Maine khaya.
Okay, so no, first we will say okay. I eat food. Okay, so you have I is main, to eat is khana, and for present indefinite it would be main. You remove the na, and for a guy
Khata or khati.
okay. Or if for a guy it's khata hu, for a girl it's khati hu. So you remove na and you say that. Okay, so this was present indefinite. Okay, मैं खाता हूँ, मैं you can say मैं apple खाता हूँ, मैं dosa खाता हूँ, anything. Now you have same thing in the past indefinite. I ate. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna ask this time. Mastramji, how will you say that in Hindi? I ate.
मैंने खाया.
मैंने खाया. Okay, that's interesting. मैंने and then you have खाया. Okay, so you can say मैंने खाना खाया, मैंने apple खाया. So you added ne to here and you change the verb. Very briefly, can you summarize why?
Because it's a transitive verb, and so you have to put the ne at the end of ne because there'll be an object.
Okay, very good, right? So you said because it's a transitive verb, when you eat something. Okay, the result is passed to some object, right? So whenever you have a transitive verb used in past tense, you add ne to the pronoun here, so it becomes maine, and the verb gets changed to, you remove the ta and you put khaya, khai or khaye based on the gender of the object, right? Maine khaya. Okay, so let's say you have again Mastramji, your sentence is maine khana khaya. Can you add the adverb that we recently learned in this sentence?
मैंने खूब खाना खाया.
Okay, you can say that. मैंने खूब, which is I ate a lot. खूब खाना खाया. But we learned just a new word here, which is stomach filled. Okay.
अच्छा, मैंने पेट par खाना खाया.
Very good. मैंने try to read it as pet, not pet. It's a per with a. मैंने पेट भर खाना खाया. मैंने पेट भर खाना खाया. That means, I ate, good amount. My belly is full. Okay, मैंने पेट भर खाना खाया. The other one, which is slightly for advanced student, we used to be asked in the 10th grade, like what is the difference between paid bhar and bhar paid? Okay, so when you change the order, it's basically मैंने भर पेट खाना खाया. That means like you overate. So the difference between paid par and barbate is like this is what you should be eating, paid par, not barbate, because that means you are overeating. Okay, so that's a slight variation there. Okay, question so far on this sentence before we practice some more? Anyone? Okay. Yeah.
Barbate means overeating.
That's right. Overeating.
Okay.
Stuffed.
And,
Yep.
and
Paid per is right amount. That means you don't have any more. You're not hungry anymore. You are full.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does the adverb always go right before the verb?
Say it one more time.
Does the adverb always go right before the verb?
What in this case, adverb goes right before the verb. That's right. So,
Oh, it goes.
yes.
Okay.
So
okay.
basically, this is the adverb and it's going before. That's right. Yeah. In this case,
Okay.
yes, that's right. But as in one of the class we mentioned, generally in Hindi there is some flexibility. So even though it can come before the sentence as well, or it can come before the verbs, it can come before the adjectives as well. But there are cases where you can play around with it, and it will still make sense to you. Yeah. So let's take one more example of desh par, the whole country. Okay. What is environment? Environment in Hindi, or atmosphere. Anyone can think of? Starts with Ma. Sarah ji, what do you think?
I have to be honest, I knew it, but I can't remember, so I can't help this time.
Why don't I give you more hint? Mahal. Mahal, okay? Mahal, okay? Mahal. So I'm going to just write it like this, Mahal. Okay? So what is happiness? Sarah ji?
Khushi?
Very good. Very good. So you have khush, which is happy. Happiness is khushi. Okay? Now combine both of them together, like environment or atmosphere of happiness. How do you say that?
Khushi Mahal?
Postposition in between to join them.
Khushi se Mahal? Is that? Khushi. Khushi ka Mahal.
Very good, very good. That's right. It's like you try one of them and then one of them. No, that's right. That's right. Khushi ka mahal. Khushi ka mahal, which is basically environment or atmosphere of happiness. Okay, I hope it makes sense, like how we are breaking it down. Khush is happy, khushi is happiness. Okay, you need to know this one. There is no short trick to that. Similarly, environment or atmosphere is mahal. Okay, when you say both of them together, like there's an environment of happiness in the whole country. Let's say you want to make that sentence. So first is you need to know that, like khushi ka mahal. You have postposition in this one. Okay. So now Sarah ji, help us. You want to say something like, let's say the country won the gold medal, or they won the final of football, and you want to say, or you did read a newspaper and the newspaper says they want to say there is an environment of happiness in the whole country. How will they say that?
Sorry, was it me who was meant to
say
this?
Yep.
Yeah. So I was thinking it's probably Din Par.
So countrywide, right? So
sorry, Desh Par. Sorry, too very put on the spot. Desh Par. Khushi ka mahal hota hai, I guess.
Okay, very good. Khushi ka mahal hai. Okay.
Okay, not hota here.
Okay. So let's say I'm going to write it in English, so that way it will make, so there is an environment of, or atmosphere of happiness in the whole country. You want to see it again and see, it's very close. There is an environment or atmosphere of happiness in the whole country.
Did I miss egg? I don't know.
Which one? Which one?
Would you say खुशी का माहौल देश भर है?
भर में
Yeah, very good.
Oh.
That's it, right? So
Lydia saves the day.
yeah, देश भर में खुशी का माहौल है, right? So so the whole point is, how do you use देश भर, right? The whole country. Okay. You can say देश में खुशी का माहौल है, which is fine as well, but by adding देश भर, you are emphasizing that the whole country, there is an environment of happiness. देश भर में खुशी का माहौल है. Okay. I hope it makes sense. I want you to try, महीने भर, घंटे भर, or साल भर. Those are the easier one. But I want you to at least practice it, and as you write it in your Word document or practice document, you continue to have a log for yourself, but feel free to post that part in the WhatsApp group, and I'm gonna check for you. Okay, let's keep going. So this is basically, you take the noun or adjective and you add bhar next to it, and it's giving you the extent or the how much. Okay, now let's go to pattern number 4 of how to make Hindi adverbs. So pattern number 4. Pattern number 4, okay, which is basically, you take adjective and you add additional words to it, which is taur se, or taur pe. Okay, you take the adjective, okay, and there are mostly 2 adjectives that are being used, which is aam, which is not mango, which is I'm going to give you the meaning of it, or the other one is khas. So it becomes khas taur se or khas taur pe, or aam taur se or aam taur pe. Okay, when you do that, it gives you the sense of how. It gives the sense of how. Okay, so as I said, you have aam taur se or aam taur pe, and then you have khas taur se or you have khas taur pe. There can be others also, I'm sure there are others, but I want you to just at least stick with these 2, and you can build your a vocabulary on these 2, aam taur pe, and khas taur se, khas taur pe. Okay, let's see. Risha ji, what do you think? Have you heard of them before? Aam taur se and then khas taur se before? You too.
Sorry, माफ कीजिए, अभी खाना खा रही हैं.
अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं. Okay, no problem. Let's see. Susan जी, आपने सुना है ये पहले?
आमतौर से आमतौर पर means usually.
Usually, very good, very good.
Yeah.
It means usually, commonly, or generally.
Yeah, generally also.
Right? Generally, things that happens, on a routine basis. What about this one? Khas taur pe.
Khas par, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Khas said specially.
Yes, very good, very good.
Yeah. I was gonna suggest that. Yeah.
Especially. Awesome.
Sorry, I jumped in.
No, it's good. That's what we want,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You gotta help each other, right? So especially, right? So you have आम तौर पे, which is commonly, usually, generally, and specially, okay, specially for you, खास तौर से आपके लिए, like for you, as you know, is आपके लिए, but when you want to say especially for you, खास तौर से आपके लिए, okay. So let's say you want to say I usually eat at 7 o'clock. I'm not going to write it to save time, but now you guys are more and more advanced as well. So you start with, in your mind, start with I eat, okay? Then you go with I eat at 7 p.m. Then you think about I usually eat at 7 p.m. Okay? You can raise your hand who wants to go, and I'm gonna, and if no one raises the hand, I'm gonna just pick. So Vidyaji, why don't you start? I usually eat at 7 p.m.
मैं खास तौर पर
Usually
7 बजे तक खास तौर पे मैं खास तौर से 7
usually
बजे तक
uh-huh.
खाना खाती हूँ
Very good.
और खा चुकी
No, it's good. What you said is correct, but it's usually. So you say मैं.
मैं आम तौर
Very good.
से
मैं
7 बजे खाना
मैं आम तौर
खाती
पे
हूँ
7 बजे खाना खाती हूँ. Okay. So again, this is a very simple sentence. मैं खाती हूँ. This is your sentence number 1. I eat. Right? I eat food is your sentence number 2. मैं खाना खाती हूँ. मैं 7 बजे खाना खाती हूँ is your sentence number 3. I eat at 7 o'clock. And then you just added an adverb in it. मैं आम तौर पे 7 बजे खाना खाती हूँ. Any questions on this one? Because, and be honest, like if it is still hard, you tell me and then I'll help you. Anyone found this one hard? मैं आम तौर पे 7 बजे खाना खाती हूँ.
मैं एक सवाल हूँ.
हाँ पूछो मस्तराम जी.
You can use amtor stay or amtor pay.
That's right.
Either one.
That's right. You can use either one. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Hopefully this was not that bad, right? मैं आम तौर पे 7 बजे खाना खाती हूँ. Just by looking at this sentence, can you change the verb and the activity or the object and make a new sentence about things that you usually do? Let's say Aneska ji.
मैं आमतौर पे सवेरे चलती हूँ.
Okay, मैं आमतौर पे सवेरे चलती हूँ, walk करती हूँ. Great one. Let's say Kelly ji.
मैं आमतौर पर 6 बजे योग करती हूँ.
Very good, awesome. Suvilai.
मैं आमतौर पे कॉफी पीती हूँ.
Very good. मैं आमतौर पे कॉफी पीती हूँ. Done.
I haven't thought of any.
No, I help you. So take any activity that you do usually.
I go to work.
Okay. So what time do you go to work?
At 9.
Okay. So you will say मैं
आमतौर पे how to say
one more time. मैं
आमतौर पे I don't think how to say no. No budget say
Okay. What?
work
Office.
office, right?
And
Office. Jakarta. No, it's called home.
Very good. Say it one more time.
मैं आम तौर पे नौ बजे ऑफिस जाता हूँ.
Very good. Got it, right? मैं आमतौर पे 9 बजे ऑफिस जाता हूँ. Awesome. Anyone else would like to try? You can raise your hand. Vatsala ji?
Was that me?
Yeah, go for it.
मैं आमतौर पे 8 बजे भागती हूँ.
मैं आमतौर से 8 बजे भागती हूँ. Good one. Let's say, Vatsala ji, you want to give this one a try as well?
हमारे घर में हम आमतौर से साउथ इंडियन खाना खाते हैं.
Very good, right? We usually eat South Indian food at our house. Okay, awesome. Okay, so this was आम तौर पे. We'll just take a couple of examples for खास तौर पे as well. Okay. So let's say you want to, when you make something special, and you want to say specially for you. Specially for you. Okay. So we have some new folks as well, but I'm not going to put them in spot, otherwise they will never come again. They'll hate me for it. Okay, what do you think, Tom? What is for you? You is up. Okay. And
आपके लिए.
very good. आपके लिए. And you combine them together, which is specially for you.
खास तौर से आपके लिए.
Very good. खास तौर से आपके लिए. Okay. Let's say make a new sentence. Exercise is important. Let's say you don't know the word for exercise, you don't know the word for important, so you will just end up using both of them in the Hindi sentence. Exercise is important. How will you say that? Both of them in the
I
sentence.
don't remember the word.
Exercise.
So exercise खास तौर से के लिए important है.
Very good. So I was looking for what you already said. Exercise important hai. And I'm saying it because, let's say you are a beginner and you don't know how to say exercise, which is vyayam. Important, zaruri hai. Okay. So vyayam zaruri hai. And then let's say you are meeting someone and you are their well-wisher and you want to tell them exercise is important, especially for you. How will you say that now together, everything?
खास तौर से आपके लिए exercise important है.
Very good, very good, awesome. Okay. Or you can change the order. Exercise is important है खास तौर से आपके लिए. Okay. Healthy eating important है खास तौर से आपके लिए. Okay, especially for you. Okay. So I took some news clippings. Okay, so I'm going to read these sentences. And then I'm going to ask you, what do you think it means? And these are longer sentences because when news articles are writing it, they don't write a simple sentence, right? Guest ko, which is in Hindi articles, when you read, a lot of the words that will be written in, they will be English word. Like, so guests, as you can guess, guests ko royal experience देने के लिए यह ट्रेन खास तौर से बनाई गई है. Okay, it's a very long sentence, so I'm going to read it again, and I want you to at least write it down either on the Zoom chat or on Facebook what I'm saying. Okay, guests ko, and I hope you hear me correctly here, which is I said guests को रॉयल एक्सपीरियंस देने के लिए यह ट्रेन खास तौर से बनाई गई है. ओके, गेस्ट्स को रॉयल एक्सपीरियंस देने के लिए यह ट्रेन खास तौर से बनाई गई है. Very long sentence. What do you think I said, Kelly ji?
Let's see.
I can-
All right, something about something about this. For the guests, this train is something about a royal experience will be given to the guests, but I didn't get the castor par bana gaya, so became or something.
Banai is made. This train, like, you know, when you make a train, like
this train is made to give the royal experience.
to the
It
guest.
is especially made to give the royal experience for the guests.
That's right.
Something
That's right.
like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely correct. Okay, so I'm going to say it one more time so that way now it will make more sense. I said guests को रॉयल एक्सपीरियंस देने के लिए यह ट्रेन खास तौर से बनाई गई है. ओके, बनाई गई है इज मेड. द ट्रेन इज मेड especially to give the royal experience to the guests. Okay, and I think probably they wrote this article for, you know, the Maharaja Express or like some of the royal train that we have that goes to the, you know, Golden Triangle in India, right? So they give you some luxury experiences, right? Okay, so the next one is बिजनेसमैन के लिए यह समय खास तौर से फायदेमंद रहेगा. Okay, I'm gonna read it again. बिजनेसमैन के लिए यह समय खास तौर से फायदेमंद रहेगा. Now this is a hard word. फायदेमंद. फायदा is profit. फायदेमंद is profitable. Okay, फायदा is profit. फायदेमंद is profitable. Okay, so listen to it one more time and listen to how the sentence is ending, which tense it's ending. Okay, बिजनेसमैन के लिए यह समय खास तौर से फायदेमंद रहेगा. Who would like to try this one? Mastran ji?
At this time, it is especially profitable for businessmen.
Very good. This time, listen to it one more time, okay? Businessmen के लिए यह समय खास तौर से फायदेमंद रहेगा. Future.
Oh, okay. So at this time, it will be especially profitable for businessmen.
That's right.
In the future.
That's right. Yep. Awesome. Anyone has any questions on this one? I hope it makes sense. Even if you don't, yeah.
The yes samay was that at this time?
This time.
Okay.
Yeah, this time is profitable, will be profitable. You know, basically, let's say they may be talking about when the rates are pretty low and they're expecting businesses to do well, in the coming time. So that's why they're saying, especially for businessmen, this is going to be a profitable, this will be profitable time. Okay. All right. So let's get going. So we have 15 more minutes. I think we're making, we're going slowly, but that's okay, right? There's no rush. So far, we have learned about pattern number 3 and pattern number 4, which is basically using the noun or adjective and putting bhar next to it, right? Desh bhar, ghanta bhar, din bhar, the whole day, okay? And then we have basically the this part, which is we learned khas taur se and aam taur se, okay? We have to do the listening as well, but the whole listening is based around the special adverb. So I'm going to spend some time on this one, special adverb, which is called kabhi. Okay, so I'm going to give a summary of it. Kabhi, when is used in the affirmative case, which is affirmative sentence, which is when, it means sometime. It means sometime, or at one time, or at any time. Okay, affirmative. When it is used in a negative sentence, it means never. And when it is used in an interrogative sentence, it means ever. Okay, so think about something like, I will go to Europe someday. Affirmative sentence, there will be kabhi will be used in the affirmative case. Okay, I will never go meet this person. Okay, it's basically, negative sentence. It's basically, you will use again kabhi only, but it's a negative sentence. Okay, then interrogative sentence. Have you ever been to India? In Hindi you will use kabhi, but in English you see it's ever. Have you ever been to India? Have you ever seen the football game? So in English, you're using, in the affirmative case, it's sometime, at one time, at any time. Okay, and the negative, it's basically never and then ever. But in Hindi, all of them is kabhi. So let me write down as an example, so it will make sense to you. Okay, we have to do some more of it next time, because I will not be able to cover, and this is a very important adverb and it is used pretty commonly, so you should know and spend more time on it. So I'm going to give right now some examples. So in the affirmative case, let's say you say मैं कभी यूरोप जाऊंगा. So imagine you had the sentence मैं जाऊंगा, I will go. मैं यूरोप जाऊंगा, I will go to Europe. मैं कभी यूरोप जाऊंगा, I will go to Europe someday. Right? Someday. That's affirmative case. Okay. Let's say I want to make the same sentence in a negative case. मैं कभी यूरोप नहीं जाऊंगा. But in English it's basically, in Hindi you're simply putting kabhi and then nahi, kabhi nahi. I will never go to Europe. मैं कभी यूरोप नहीं जाऊंगा. I will never, right? That's an English term. Then the interrogative, which is क्या आप कभी यूरोप, I'm going to write it in past tense, गए, or sorry, the present perfect. क्या आप कभी यूरोप गए हैं? Have you ever been to Europe? Okay, when you're translating it, it's, you see ever there, but Hindi it's क्या आप कभी यूरोप गए हैं? Okay, so there are many variations of kabhi which you probably have heard of, in the Bollywood movies or even your day-to-day conversation, like kabhi kabhi, right? Then you have, and Ushajan gives a list of it, which we'll be covering in the next class, but a handful of them, right? I mean, so I can actually read it out to you just so that you have some practice. So you have kabhi kabhi, you have kabhi bhi, you have kabhi, kabhi na kabhi, okay, and then you have jab kabhi and kabhi bhi. Okay, so we will cover them in the next class. Okay, but just remember, it's a very, two adverbs are special, kabhi and kahin. Okay, I just covered a very basic summary of it because when we do the listening part, there's a lot of kabhi I used in that story. So at least you feel that at least you got some practice there. Okay, Any questions so far? I know this one we haven't finished it yet, so don't feel that we'll not be covering it. Any questions, anyone? No question? Okay, so who remember what was going on in the story? Quickly, can someone summarize in English what was happening in the story? Just a high level summary. Anushka ji, you want to give a quick summary? High level of the summary that in the Hindi listening story that we were doing.
Sure. I don't know if I'm going to drop any of it.
It's okay. You can summary is you can drop whatever you want.
Ron is this fisherman. He sells his fish to support his family, and I think the last episode was when there was a storm and everyone was scared, and then he and his older girl light up the
lamp,
their place.
Very good.
With these lanterns.
Awesome. So that was we covered so far. Now in this part, and some of you may feel that these are very advanced words, but so be it, right? You get used to listening and parsing the sentence based on what you know currently. Okay, I'm going to read it, listen to it, okay, and see what you can extract from it. Okay, सुबह हुई और बारिश रुक गई. Okay, सुबह हुई और बारिश रुक गई. रॉन घर के बाहर गया. रॉन घर के बाहर गया. उसने देखा कि हर तरफ पानी भरा हुआ है. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. उसने देखा कि हर तरफ पानी भरा हुआ है. I'm going to say the whole thing again. सुबह हुई और बारिश रुक गई. रॉन घर के बाहर गया. उसने देखा कि हर तरफ पानी भरा हुआ है. Okay. Then I used a noun. लक्ष्मणपुर में इतनी बारिश कभी नहीं हुई थी. Okay. So introduce a new word. Think of it as like a village where he lives. Okay. Lakshmanpur is like village in the America. Like most of the towns, some of the towns may have village at the end, right? Like, So Lakshmanpur में इतनी बारिश कभी नहीं हुई थी. ओके. कभी कभी थोड़ी बारिश होती थी. कभी कभी थोड़ी बारिश होती थी, लेकिन इस बार तो सारे रिकॉर्ड्स टूट गए थे. लेकिन इस बार तो सारे रिकॉर्ड्स टूट गए थे. ओके. रॉन ने अपने बच्चों से पूछा. रॉन ने अपने बच्चों से पूछा, क्या तुमने कभी इतना पानी देखा है? क्या तुमने कभी इतना पानी देखा है? बच्चों ने कहा, नहीं, कभी नहीं देखा. बच्चों ने कहा, नहीं, कभी नहीं देखा. कभी कभी टीवी में देखा है. ओके. कभी कभी टीवी में देखा है. I'm going to read the whole thing again. Listen to it. You don't need to know exact translation. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to just get the gist of it. Okay, as if you're watching the movie or you're listening to the radio and you just have to just get about right to get the summary. So don't get fixated on, I don't know this word, I don't know this grammatical concept. Okay, don't do that, please. सुबह हुई और बारिश रुक गई. रॉन घर के बाहर आया और गया, उसने देखा कि हर तरफ पानी भरा हुआ है। लक्ष्मणपुर में इतनी बारिश कभी नहीं हुई थी। कभी कभी थोड़ी बारिश होती थी, लेकिन इस बार तो सारे रिकॉर्ड्स टूट गए थे। रॉन ने अपने बच्चों से पूछा, क्या तुमने कभी इतना पानी देखा है? बच्चों ने कहा, नहीं, कभी नहीं देखा, कभी कभी टीवी में देखा है। Okay? Who thought it was too much? Be honest and raise your hand. Who thought it was like, okay, that's good. Shilaji being honest. Who else thought it was way too much? Who got a little bit
It
of
was that very last that just lost me completely.
Okay. Who got at least a bit of it? At least raise your hand. Some parts of it. Okay. So because most of you have your video turned off, you have to use the zoom feature. Okay. So some of you got some. Okay. Good. Right. Who got? Okay. So I think nobody will raise hand if I say everything, because everybody will be. So okay. So let's see. Saraji, you want to distill what was told in this one?
Sure. I'm not sure if I remember every single sentence,
That's
but
okay. That's not the point.
basically,
Yeah.
Our main character wakes up and it's morning and the rain stopped, and because it's been raining, there's a lot of water in the village, and people had never seen that amount of water before. So he goes and asks some children if they had ever seen this amount of water, because rain doesn't happen very often in the village. And then the children say, no, I have never, or like, we have never seen this before, we've only ever seen this on TV.
Okay, awesome.
And that's about what I remember from
that's
it.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. Donaji, you want to add something to it?
I think she pretty much covered it.
Awesome. That's great. Let me.
Gee, I did have a question about the sentence that you said that I could not figure out. It was lekin is par to.
So when you read it in the story, it will make sense. But I said, लेकिन इस बार तो सारे records टूट गए थे. So I wrote some English words in there, because that's how you will read in Hindi newspaper. Whenever it is a record breaking, or So I said, लेकिन इस बार तो सारे रिकॉर्ड्स टूट गए थे. Which part is this part? Record टूट गए थे, or which one was?
I understand it much better now. It's like broke all the records.
That's right.
It broke.
That's right. This time it has broken all the records from the past. Okay, it has exceeded from the previous year. For the benefit of everyone, now that we have high level summary, I'm going to say it one more time to see if it goes better. Okay. सुबह हुई, okay, और बारिश रुक गई. Then came the morning and the rain stopped. Ron घर के बाहर गया. Ron stepped outside the house. Okay. उसने देखा कि हर तरफ पानी भरा हुआ है. He saw, उसने देखा कि that हर तरफ पानी भरा हुआ है. That the water is filled everywhere. हर तरफ पानी भरा हुआ है. I added a new noun here, Lakshmanpur mein. In Lakshmanpur, which is basically now left for the reader to infer that this may be the town where Ron lives. Okay, Lakshmanpur mein itni barish kabhi nahi hui. It's never rained this much in this town, Lakshmanpur. Kabhi kabhi thodi barish hoti thi. It used to rain a little bit in the past. Kabhi kabhi थोड़ी बारिश होती थी, लेकिन इस बार तो सारे रिकॉर्ड्स टूट गए थे. बट दिस टाइम इट हैज ब्रोकन ऑल द रिकॉर्ड्स. ओके. रॉन ने अपने बच्चों से पूछा. रॉन आस्क्ड हिज चिल्ड्रन. क्या तुमने कभी इतना पानी देखा है? क्या तुमने कभी इतना पानी देखा? Have you seen this amount of water before? This much water before? बच्चों ने कहा, the kids said, नहीं, कभी नहीं देखा. No, we have never seen, this much. कभी कभी TV में देखा है. Sometimes we have seen it in the television. Okay. So again, this is a fictional story. I'm just writing it as we learn the topic. So this topic is supposed to be about kabhi and adverbs. So you can see, so the goal is that as you're learning the topic, you should listen to this thing. So it was going to continue to build. I would say you should continue to go and read the story from, it's there on the Hindi, tiny.cc/Hindi University page. And my goal is, as we continue to build, it's hard to go to the grammar topics and revise it. But having a story, you can just quickly read it and it'll just, reinforce the concept for you and it will become part of your memory. So I'm going to stop the Facebook broadcast and I'm going to open it up for any questions you may have. Thank you so much for everyone who joined on, on Facebook. Leah G, Stephen G, Nirman, Elan G, Yuli, Elizabeth, and then everyone, if I missed your name, thank you so much.